Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Betrayal at Krondor. We are back in Krondor. I did do the circuit. I'll talk about that in a moment. But here at the inn, we should be able to get some information that we need to do a side quest. I think I want to talk to this guy. James Grint. Seated behind one of the benches was an old associate, Nivik, Lord Minister of Finances of the Western Realm. A loyal subject of Arutha, he had befriended both he and Senor Locklear during their scramblings about in Krondor's streets and had taught the both of them a good deal about the workings of the kingdom's finances. Looking down the considerable length of his nose, he greeted them cheerily. Senor James, what a pleasure to see you. The pleasure is mutual. How are the ledgers of the kingdom, Nivek? Think we shall have enough money to keep the kingdom running for the year? The ledgers are at a balance, but I dare say my thirst suffers a deficit of catastrophic proportions. Though I handle thousands of sovereigns a day, I fear I haven't the command of more than a handful for my own use at the moment. I don't suppose you might be in a position... What do you say, Owen? Do we buy a drink for the honorable tax collector, or do we allow him to expire of thirst? Oh, I think we will buy him a drink. Bartender, a drink for the tax collector. Drink up, friend, and tell me what you know. You've always had a good ear for the happenings in and out of the kingdom. Rumors? My goodness me, I'm not the kind to consort with rumor mongers. No, sire, you should know that. Of course, I do occasionally hear a few facts that are of interest to people. Accounting is a fascinating business, you know, all the figures and such. Something a little more lively, if you please. Stolen cows, cheating wives, dishonest traders, that sort of thing. The prurient and the scatological, eh? Well, let me think on it. I believe I heard something last week. At least I believe it was last week. Maybe it was the week before that. Couldn't have been before that annexation in Malek's Cross. If you please, Nivek, we would like to get out of here before tomorrow. I would be most pleased to accommodate you, but it seems that my mouth has grown a bit dry. What do you say to buying me another drink? Okay. Now that's much better. What was I saying? Oh, yes, about this story. There was this fellow that lives near Sethanon that has filed 3 new claims on land in the past year. 3, understand that? Is there something suspect about his purchases? Oh, his selections of land are nice enough, prime pieces of land, matter of fact, but he's without a title. How is a person of ignoble birth managed to buy 3 prime estates? Tell me that. What was this fellow's name? Perhaps we should look into it. What kind of question is that now? You think I carry my ledger around in my head? I mean, you might as well ask me the name of Prince Rufa's wife. You mean to tell me that you can't remember Princess Anita's name? No, what was her name? You were telling me about the man near Sethanon. What else do you know about him? Tell me about the man. I think his name was Fibber. That's not right. Not right at all. Fleeber, Monk's Finger, Maps Flipper, Fever. Fever! Maxi Fever! That's it. You know, I'm really getting tired now, and maybe I should go home. There's still a few things I need to know. Think you can hold out for just a few more minutes? Sure. I can do it. Need something else to drink, though. You, buying? I think I will do that. And hit what? I suppose you mean that your drink hit the mark. Why don't you tell us a little more about this Max Feber character? That's boring. Boring. Let's talk about the last year. Did you know that for every cow in Midkemia, we got a golden sovereigns a year alone just for their manure? Did you know that? I bet you didn't. And for every duck... Max Feber. I want to know about Max Feber. Okay, Moxie Flipper. I know that she was trying to buy up some of the property left in Sethanon a few years back from Jared Lycro, but Jared wouldn't sell to no one, so Moxie cooked up this idea. Sure you don't want to hear about the ducks? No, just tell us about Max. What did he do? He got himself a shovel and dug to try to scare Jared. Of course, Jared wasn't scared of nothing, but it sure frightened Nia. What was he digging up? Hey, going to sleep now. Good night. Maybe I could buy you another drink? What, you haven't run out of money yet? Oh, in that case, I'll have another if you're buying. Sure, let's just contribute to this guy ruining his liver. Why not? Graveyard near Sethanon. That's where he was digging up. Afraid of ghosts near Jared, whatnot. Not at all. Just Nia, little Nia. Where do you think he got the funds to buy the land? They said he got it in the hole. All the monkeys' money's in the hole. Just got to get it. They ain't afraid of no ghosts. What hole are you talking about? Where is he going? I think I go home now. One more tankard of ale to keep him going. Sure. You know, his Undertaker key under this here is trying to switch him, but I ain't no criminal. Oh, glass of shot. Oh gosh, I'm gonna be sick. The what? I don't understand. I said I'm gonna be sick. Okay. I think I've abused you enough for now. Sleep well, Nivik. I think we know all we need to know. Let's see what happens if we talk to him again. The tax collector looked ill. Slumped on his bench, he gazed into open space, his monocle fogged and his features slackened. Seeing James, he seemed to pale somewhat. Just let me die, guys. Still hungover, Nivek? So out. Please just leave a poor old sod to die. Sure you don't want to drink? I want you to know that I hate you to the depths of my being right now. The bitter sea isn't as deep as my loathing for you. So I take it you're not in the mood for a talk. Go fall off the edge of the world. Quietly. Just so long as you don't make any sound doing it. Goodbye, James. Take care of yourself, old friend. Alright, that was worth it. Alright, let's make our way back to Sethanon. The Sethanon area. It's going to get dark. We're going to get some complaints about needing sleep soon. It's fine. Alright, so I ended up doing the full circuit. I discovered that since it is a new chapter, you can bard at all the taverns again. So that was pretty cool. On top of that, I bought Owen the lightning staff. Uses left 40. Haven't actually used it, but it does do more damage. I don't know if attacking with it will do damage, but I think we'll just, run with it. I'm guessing it does the lightning spell, but I don't know for sure. Let's see. I don't think I really picked up anything else new. Had that sword. I got a Keshian Tapir. I can't remember if I'd purchased it already at the end of last session or not. I did get some new Weed Walkers for Owen, so that his skill... Oh, hey, we got health and stamina for everyone. That's pretty nice. I got other, various stats up to. James's haggling is up to 100, so everyone's haggling is up to 100. That is by far the easiest skill to get up to 100. Yeah, so scouting and stealth went up. I found that stealth, a good way of getting that up is to use Breath of the Dragon and just wander around enemies. Because it's just skyrockets right there. It's pretty good. So yeah, worked out pretty nice. Let's go back onto the map. There were various encounters, not a whole lot, and nothing of significance. It was mostly Quegian pirates and Mordhel. And there was one fight with spiders and one fight with two Mordhel wizards and two spiders. Let's go east. Thank you for not getting me back on the road, game. And I did various things like slaughtering all of the all those monsters and everything. There was one encounter with just 4 spiders, which was fun. Alright, so here we are back here near Sethanon. Don't remember exactly where the graveyard was, so let's see, do we see it? Yes, there it is. Jared Lycro owned a shop and a tavern. Never wanted for more. Let's go ahead and bookmark first. Let's go ahead and dig it up. An hour passed. Covered with grime and grave mold, James distastefully flung back the heavy lid of the coffin to look at its contents. Immediately he retched as the thick ammonia scent billowed up from the coffin's corrupting remains. Just a body, James gagged. Let's get him covered back up. Wait, Owen said, pointing down into the hole. Look! Someone's taken his hand. Why would a grave robber steal a body part? James shrugged. I wouldn't have guessed I would be digging up graves myself if Gorath hadn't said that the Mordhel use them sometimes as secret caches. Either way, let's get him covered up and be on our way. And I believe that James's doppelganger said something about a person selling a hand or something like that. I don't remember exactly. It has been a week. However, let's go talk to Max Feber, which I believe he is down this way, but I think I'll rest until morning. The farmer was still in his field. Looking up at them suspiciously, he pushed the sweat-drenched hair out of his eyes with the back of his hand and waited. His eyes narrowed as they drew closer. He didn't seem pleased to have guests. I've been thinking about your offer to buy my land, but I haven't decided yet. Come back some other time and we can discuss it. Okay, that's all he says right now. So we have the barn there. Ah, there's a house on the other side. The door was unlocked. James entered the small house and looked around. Judging by the simplicity of things which decorated the interior, he guessed the house belonged to Max Feber. This is odd, he said, noticing a few items which seemed a bit more expensive than a farmer might be expected to own. Alerted by the incongruity, something told him to investigate the farmer's belongings further. So we got a shovel, just in case he didn't have one, and a burial cloth. Turning over the coarsely woven cloth in his hands, he examined the blotches of yellow mold that seemed remarkably like a human face. It was probable the linen had been a burial shroud, the face imprinted upon it as the unknown man's flesh had dissolved into moldering corruption. There you go, and you can have it. That does max out your inventory, in part because I have fed everyone else. So I'll probably end up selling that shovel. Probably sell the good one. Alright, so... But we need to get the hand. And I think... we were told it was in Lytton or one of these other towns coming up. It's not a town that we've been to. So we got Lytton, Silden, Sloop, and Romney. I think it was in Lytton, but I'm not positive. Let me get back onto my map for this area, so I know if I'm missing anything. I don't remember exactly all the things that I have done at this point. A well-armed band of men approached. "You shall not pass this way unless you pay a road tax," yelled one of the men. James put a hand on his sword. "Under whose authority do you make these demands?" he shouted back. "Lord Lytton. Now either turn back or pay us a tax of 25 gold sovereigns. Which will it be?" "Well, I'm going to leave." James stared at the tax collectors. Turning to Gorath, he said quietly, "A battle against these men would be foolish. We should turn back and find another way around this mess." Okay. Get off the road. Alright, so I believe that is Lytton down there. If we go this way, can we sneak in the back way? Looks like we might be able to. Private residence, James said. And we got another one out here. Let's go, check these kind of in order. Apparently I passed right by one as well. James pushed the door open. "The place is abandoned," Gorath said, looking around the room. "Maybe the occupants left something behind we can use. Let's have a look." Hey, whetstone. With just 5 uses. I'm okay with that. Owen shrugged. "Looks like this building is being used for storage," he said. "Beyond that, anyone's guess would be as good as mine." James pushed open the door of the wooden barn. Inside, he found stalls containing a standard mixture of animals. The floor of the barn was covered with a pungent mixture of hay, dust, and animal dung that made his eyes water. He was glad that when they left a few minutes later. Alright, so nothing to do there. Gorath was about to knock on the front door when he heard a strange roaring sound coming from inside the house. It lasted for several seconds, stopped. Then it began again. "What in the name of Ishap?" Gorath stood with his ear cocked to the door. Suddenly, realization dawned, and with a smile he turned to leave. Owen gave him a puzzled look. "We're leaving? It sounds like a wild beast in there. Perhaps we should see if there's anyone inside in need of assistance." "I'm afraid even if you were a master magician like Pug, you couldn't cure a snore like that. Come on, let's allow him to sleep." These tax collector guys aren't actually all that good, are they? James looked around the small barn. Judging by the variety of livestock, he guessed that it was a community property, perhaps owned by the citizens of Lytton. He poked around for a few minutes, then said, "Nothing of much interest here. Let's move on." Private residence. James knocked, and almost immediately there was a sound of frantic movement inside the house, then silence. He knocked again. Nothing. "Hello?" Silence. "Is anybody here? We are weary travelers and seek only a moment of your time, perhaps a drink of water." James waited patiently for a moment, then said sternly, "Look, we know you're in there. We heard you moving about." Finally, with the door still closed, a man replied weakly, "We know who you really are. We will have the rest of the taxes as soon as we get the money." No amount of arguing or explaining could convince the man of the truth. The door remained closed. Okay. Seems like there is definitely some rogue tax collectors in the region. Private residence. The door opened with a creak. Good day," said a lady of about 25. "What brings you kind gentlemen to Lytton?" James glanced at Gorath, then replied matter-of-factly, "Well, just passing through. Could we trouble you for something to drink, perhaps?" "You'll find a well beside the road near the center of town," she said. Realizing that she was probably a bit leery about talking to strange men, James thanked her for the information and said goodbye. Hey, James is respectful. Private residence. Interesting. Not a shop? James pushed the door open. "Place is abandoned," Gorath said, looking around the room. "Maybe the occupants left something behind we can use. Let's have a look." There's a lot of abandoned houses. With 15 gold. I'll take that. There's gold in them there abandoned houses. Alright. Tavern. Is that the last building in town? This one does appear to be the last building in town.
James knocked on the door. For a long moment he leaned against the door frame as he waited, positioning himself so he could listen for the sounds of any stirrings inside. When at last it was evident no one was coming, he stepped back with a shrug. Doesn't seem that anyone's about. Alright, let's go into the tavern. James sniffed. Stepping just inside the tavern's doorway, he detected the faint, familiar scent of lye and the more pungent aromas that they were meant to erase. The wayside. So we got someone there. We can talk to someone. There's a barmaid. There's someone there. We can talk to that person. And we've got Inn back there. Conversation within the room halted briefly as James pushed his way inside the room, returning a nod from a rough-looking pair of mercenaries who otherwise seemed engaged in dispute over a lost bet. Let's see. Okay prices for food. I don't know why your weapon craft was checked. I must have accidentally checked that. I'll leave you on scouting and stealth. It doesn't matter. Alright, let's go barding. When at last he had finished with the tune, he found his audience was sitting in stunned silence, their gazes all fixed on him. "That was beautiful," the tavern keeper said. Reaching into his pouch, he removed 110 sovereigns and placed them in Owen's hand. Ah, I love taking their money. Let's see what you have to say. The table was cleaned for them. Sitting down on a splintered bench across from the man, James shared a bit of the mercenary's bread as he listened to a story about a failed love affair with a married woman, etc., etc. And what about you? Okay. It's literally like the same two people in every tavern. Let's talk to you. James asked for company. Smiling at them, the man eagerly accepted the offer of fellowship and told a number of tales about his works for Lord Lytton. Unsure what in the man's manner inspired his trust, James responded likewise by telling him a few of the details of their trip to Romney, though omitting the specifics about Gorath's part in things. "Ah, wait. I don't envy you that," the man said, waving his hands. "I'd not be heading anywhere near the river, not for no amount of silver, not me." "Why is that?" James asked. "Awful troubles there. The Guild of Romney and the River Pullers Guild are as good as at war. If you ask me, some bloke down Sildon way is trying to stir up things. Oh, I've heard he's even got a few snakes what are posing as members of other guilds, even carrying forged guild seals. Saw a group of them with Max Fever, that greedy bastard, out west of here." When the man excused himself to go answer nature's call, James pondered for a moment the things he had learned. While it seemed wildly improbable that the events that were going on around them were somehow connected, he had seen the plots of Mermandamus previous to the last uprising, and those circumstances had left him jaded. It made him none the more comfortable that he was now escorting a former ally of that horrid hell monster. "And what about you?" James motioned to the man across the room. "Sometimes I come to this place to drink and gab," the man said, "but sometimes I come to gab." "Well, then perhaps you could tell us," James began hopefully. Before he could finish, the man interrupted. "Today, I just came to drink." Well, that's just disappointing. Is there anything else that's just barmaid? Nope. Alright. Might as well... oh, now 9 sovereigns. Holy cow. We'll do it. Wow, didn't get a request to stay an extra night. The party's barding ability has increased. Excellent. You're up to 24 now. You're up to 42. Very nice. And, of course, Owen is at 100. Okay, now, I know that there is supposed to be a Lord Lytton around here somewhere. Let me see if I can figure out which building that's supposed to be. Okay. Nope, maybe none of those. He's somewhere else. However, I think I'm supposed to be able to do something with this one. I will come back to that one. Okay, there's another building up here. I think this is the one that we want. Private residence. A servant met them at the door. She ushered them inside and led them to a partitioned corner of the room. Pulling back the curtain, she revealed a gangly man with a white beard and snow-gray hair, who introduced himself as Lord Lytton. "Please forgive my humble accommodations," he sighed. "My financial situation has been compromised by the death of my lord, Earl Presser of Romney." Suddenly he brightened. "Perhaps you fine gentlemen would be willing to assist me in a small matter." "What could we do to help?" asked James. The lord sighed again. "I was to equip 6 knights and send them to Romney for my former lord, but his holdings were bestowed to his half-brother following his death. And he wishes me to deliver 12 fully equipped knights to Malak's Cross. If you could bring me 6 suits of kingdom armor in good condition, I would be able to get rid of those annoying tax collectors who have been traveling the roads terrorizing people and extorting money. I wouldn't actually expect that you would have that sort of a thing with you. You don't, do you?" James made a face. "It isn't exactly the sort of thing we would carry about with us as a rule." "Of course not," Lytton replied, showing them to the door. "But please, see what you can do." Now, I don't know if I need to have all 6 of them on me at one time. So I've got 1, 2... I could shift some things around to get 3. So I gotta find a Mordell wordlock chest and just dump stuff off, I think. Let's go around here, back to the road. Alright, I'm going to have to look around and figure out... You know what? Maybe... let's go ahead and leave. Would not mind fighting these guys. Okay, that seems to work. I'm going to head back and talk to James's doppelganger. We'll go ahead and rest, however. Let's see, it's going to be a while to get back there, though, isn't it? Because I feel like I need to trigger something. But I'm pretty sure he did say something about a hand. Okay. Hello, Senor James. What brings you back here? Came back to check on where you sold the skeletal hand that you found near Sethanon. Did you say you sold it to someone named Glover and Lytton? That I did. Just wanted to check again before I went and made a fool of myself. Thanks again, Lyle. Okay. Well, hopefully that will trigger it. Alright, well, I'll get back to Lytton. We'll need to keep an eye out for anyone who has kingdom armor. Obviously, I could have kept some of the ones that I had gotten from things that I'd been fighting, but I kind of figured that I'd be encountering more enemies that would have it coming up. So I'll get us back to Lytton, and we'll see if we can talk to that Glover person. See you next time, everyone.